Come on, ride, come on, race. We go all out, we don't play. One more ride, one more way. We don't slow down, ain't no breaks. I'ma go out.
New series on my channel, you know, Wrastlin review. I couldn't be match review because another wrestling YouTuber, Isaac Gomez, actually has his own match review. But so this is my own. It's called Wrastlin review. This is the first episode, and I had about 30 submissions that I had to go through. And thank you guys for all the submissions too. But I chose this one. It was a very, very high scoring match. It was like over 30 points, which is insane. So the wrestler that I chose, his name is David Carson. He wrestles for a school in Wisconsin, actually, called Wisconsin Lutheran. And so they're actually at Team State, and they're facing a team called Ellsworth. So he says the match was pretty much back and forth the whole time, and the final score was actually 18-22. He did end up losing, but 40 points for a match, that's absolutely insane. So without further ado, guys, let's get in and let's review the match. Alright, so our guy is in the blue. That's the guy we're kind of reviewing right now. So good motion right now. Good head taps. So wrestling. Purple guy gets on a leg. Okay. And he lifts it up. He does a good job putting that leg to the outside there, but... And then he just goes back, takes him down. Okay, so one thing on that, actually, is we've been doing a lot of practice also, is instead of kind of... So he didn't really sprawl, he kind of just got to the leg and kind of just put his hip into him. So what you can actually do is use your head more. You can kind of get your head below him. So one thing you can do is you can actually, when he shoots, you kind of sprawl, but it's like you just put your hands on the mat and you just circle away. Just like that. So what you're going to do is you're wrestling here, right? And he goes, let's say he goes on a shot for this leg, right? So all you're going to do is you're going to put your head kind of right in his head, put your hands down, and circle away. All right? Just kind of like that. That's one thing that I would pick up from there. But other than that, I mean, he did a good takedown. Goes back to the center. Trying to get up. Guy grabs the ankle, runs him out of bounds. Nothing you can do there. Get back to the center. Try again. Guy runs him with the ankle. Stands up. Good. And then the guy just kind of pushes him away. Gets his one. That's good. Okay, so one thing on that. We're going to pause right here. So one thing he actually did was he kind of just head tapped, then he went. You want to use more of your like setups, you know what I mean? You can't just shoot in like all the time just off of nothing. You got to set it up. You got to push, pull, hit, pick, pass. Do all those to kind of get in his face. I mean, other than just like tapping the head, then going. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you can do. So that's one thing on that. So he gets him in an over-under position. Our guy's good at lat drops for sure. Gets him in, boom, hits it. Gets him on his back. So that was, perfectly set up. The one thing the purple guy did, thank goodness he didn't drop down to a leg on the underhook side. But thankfully our guy actually got his hips in and threw him. So you got 2 points for a takedown and 3 points for back points. So it's good. He's up 6-2 right now. He just lets him up, I guess. Gets a 1. So one thing on that is when you let a guy up, you want to go over to the front of his head and you want to put your hand on his neck. You got to make him work for it to get up, because what'll that do is it'll try to like break your opponent. You know what I mean? So as you can see, he's on his opponent. He's on his opponent right now, and he just lets him up. Like, what you want to do, you want to get out in front of him. You want to shove your hand in his neck and push on him. It's kind of like a fight, you know what I mean? It's not kind of like, here's a free 1 point. The other guy is controlling ties right now. And then he gets on a shot, and he gets his fireman's and gets his points. So, so that's pretty much, that guy was in control of his ties. He's got the underhook. He's got the wrist. You got to be more in there, circling, trying to get the control, underhook, overhook, anything like that. Not just kind of sitting there, because this guy actually capitalized on that little mistake, and then he got 5 points from that. 2 for takedown, 3 for back points. So now our guy's actually down 8-6 right now after that little flurry. It looks like it's going to be the end of the period, but our guy definitely needs to pick up the pace, if he wants to win this one. So the second period, he's going to ride on top. The other guy picked down. Alright, so he really didn't attempt a mat return at all. I would kind of drop down to a leg in that situation, try to bring him down, or even just step around and lift him up, give him a little fight there. But again, he didn't set up a shot. He kind of just went in. Looks like he's going to get his lateral drop again. He's going to attempt to. But if you're at the state tournament, at Team State, guys are going to recognize this, and they're not going to let you make, that same mistake twice. So one thing on this, I think he needs to control the center of the mat more. And again, he just gives up his position there, and he gets on that outside fireman's type single type thing, and he gets his 2 points. So that's, again, mental toughness there. It looks like he's kind of gassed already, and that's definitely not a good thing. And looks like this guy almost gets his back points, actually. So he's got to have really good body posture in this position. So I'm going to pause right here. But body posture and just like how people see you on the mat. So it's not like if you're tired, that doesn't mean show you're tired. You got to have like, you know, a poker face and not show, you know, any emotion on the mat. So that's one thing that I actually have to try to improve on as well. That's one thing that I think I can improve on as well as a lot of people, is actually just having a poker face out there and showing really good mental toughness. So the Ellsworth guy looks like he's trying to work in a ball and chain. Our guy's trying to fight, gets on his back, but actually does like a funk roll, and he gets a reversal on it. So that was, you know, perfectly executed. Good job on him. Good job for recognizing that. I think he was trying to set that up early in the match as well. And again, he just lets him up. He just lets him up, and that guy actually noticed that, you know, he always just lets him up so easily. He went on a shot, and he pretty much almost got the 2. So that was a very, actually, scary situation right there. But again, come off to the front of the head, push on his head, make sure he works to get up. Looks like he's trying to work an overhook for a lateral drop. But once he does this, of course, the Ellsworth guy is going to recognize this as he drops onto the leg again. And, you know, he gets another takedown. He gets another takedown on this. And this is one thing with if you're trying to go for throws and everything. Once you have him here, you're trying to jack him up, right? And he'll notice that, and he'll just drop down to the leg because there's nothing defending your legs. You have to stay low, and you got to recognize positions. If that over-under like happens to be, then you, of course, you know, utilize it. But you kind of don't want to like make it out of nothing. You want to use some setups to get, you know, an over-under. So he gets caught on his back again, and this is going to make it 8-17. So he's down by a lot. I think he's getting majored right now. And this will actually end the second period. So this second period definitely went to the Ellsworth guy. He's trying to work that over-under again. And he tries to get it, but then he doesn't. He just defends it. And that's one thing. If you're wrestling at these big tournaments like Team State or State, you can't just do the same move over and over again. So one thing I did my sophomore year was I got 249 takedowns, like using the fireman and the outside fireman. Once we went to State, guys would stop that, and they would know that, you know, that's my move. And I could never hit it on anyone because that's the only move I tried to do. Just like this guy did a lot of lat drops. And I'm sure it works, you know, a lot on a lot of wrestlers. But once you get, you know, to the top 10%, guys are going to stop that and it's not going to work. So we got 1 minute left in the third period, and it's still 8-19. Our guy's got to get to work here. And he gets put on his back. But eventually he does this weird funk thing, and he kind of gives it up, but then he always gets his 2. So that, I mean, that's pretty risky, but I mean, he does it. He makes it work. So again, he lets him up. You gotta make him work. But here he goes. He's trying to control the center mat. Tries to work the over-under again, and he throws him. That was such a nice throw. The guy didn't even see that coming, but I mean, that's the only move he pretty much did. But freaking good job on that one. See, something like that, you know, what he did right here, he kind of just went into it right away. You kind of got to bull rush him just like that. Almost gets the pin here, is trying to. And he's showing emotion on the mat right now. When you throw your hands on the ground, that's one thing that you probably shouldn't do, is show emotion on the mat. Because look, the Ellsworth guy looks, you know, his head was on the mat. This is where you got to be, you know, energized. Like, you got to smell blood. You got to be a shark in water. You got to realize that this guy, you know, is kind of scared for a little bit. You got to get your head in the game, and you got to get back at it. So again, he tries the over-under, but this guy just drops to a leg. And he's just going to sit here, trying to stale out for the rest of the match. Gets a nice roll here, trying to create something. Gets 2. And that's the match. Okay, so again, a very, very high-scoring match. 40 points. That's absolutely insane. So that was definitely one of the matches where, you know, you learned a lot. So the number one learning opportunity for this one is don't go looking for the same move, you know, every single time you go for a move. That one was a lateral drop. He just kept trying to jack him up and then throw it. It worked twice, but it didn't really work the other times. So that was one thing. You don't want to always do one move the whole match. Number 2, he didn't really set up his shots. So, you know, what you can do is to set up a shot. You can push him, you can pull him, you can pick the arm, pass the arm, you can do a fake, you can do a circle, you can hit the head, stuff like that, and that'll get your opponent moving. So that's how you can get, you know, more takedowns. And number 3, I would say, is kind of showing mental toughness on the mat. So you want to have a poker face, and you don't really want to show any emotion on the mat. So one thing is, like, let's say you go out of bounds or something, you run back to the middle and you get ready to wrestle, because that guy will be like, oh shoot, this guy, is ready to show up. He's ready to go back in it, and he might be tired already. You want to keep the pressure on. Like I said earlier in the video, you got to be a shark that smells blood. And then also, if like you're losing or anything, you don't want to, slam the mat, slam your headgear on the mat, anything like that. He didn't slam his headgear, but he did slam the mat at one point, and that's one thing that, the other opponent could see, and he's like, oh dang, I got this guy. But you don't want to show any emotion on that, because then he'll be the shark. And that was that for the wrestling review for David Carson. I really appreciate you for sending in this video. But yeah, this concludes the first ever wrestling review on the Cayden Henschel YouTube channel. If you guys did enjoy this video at any point in time, please make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing. I post about 3 to 4 times a week, at least I'm trying to. Now we're getting into the swing of things with school. But thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next video.